We're going to discuss setting a price, which is in the N1 section, the number section of the GMF curriculum. And we're going to talk specifically about markup. And so we want to understand what that is. So in order to set a price, you have to sort of think about what people are willing to pay. So prices rise and fall based on demand. In other words, people want it or don't want it. And then based on supply. So in other words, it's easily accessible or it's not. So if demand rises, then we can charge more. And if supply becomes less, if there's less around, then you can also charge more for it. If demand falls or there's a large supply, then prices usually go down. Okay. And obviously there's other factors, but you can see the price of things that go up and down quite often. One of the classic examples that we see quite often is gas prices, and you probably notice they're quite low right now. They're about 68 cents per liter. They've fallen quite a bit, okay, because of COVID-19 and other things. So you can see how prices will fall and go up as things either improve or don't. Okay. So there's all sorts of different things going to affect a price, but basically what happens in terms of what you need to know about or what you need to learn about is that when somebody makes a product and then they want to go turn around and sell it, they do something called markup. They mark up the price because they want to make a profit. The profit being extra money. So it costs them a certain amount to make the product. They want to make a certain amount of money on top of that. All right. So markup is the difference between the amount the dealer sells a product for and the amount that they paid for it. Either they paid for it in terms of they paid the production costs and they made it, or they paid for it in terms of they paid for it from somebody who made it, if that makes sense. So for example, I could buy t-shirts from a company, I could put something on them that would cost me a certain amount of money, and then I could sell them again for more money. So I would be marking that up so that I can make money on my product. So how does markup work? All right, basically markup works as a percentage. So if you're looking at how much something costs and then you're marking it up, you're just adding a percentage to that cost. We'll look at a few examples. This one is the first one we'll look up. But as we do that, I want you to understand that markup, to actually figure out markup, okay, you just take the original price or the cost and multiply it by the percentage as a decimal, okay? So it's 0 point whatever the percentage is, okay? We'll call it P. If you want to find the selling price, in other words, you want the actual what you're going to sell it for to somebody else, you're going to take the cost and multiply it by 1 plus 0 point P. In other words, the percentage as a decimal, okay? So in this instance, it asked me to find the selling price. So I'm going to take the cost. I'm going to call the selling price SP just for an abbreviation. I'm going to take the cost, which is $99.50, and I'm going to multiply it by 1 plus 0.95. Okay, so that is $99.50 times 1.95. And if I multiply $99.50 by 1.95, I get $194.03. So that's what I'm going to charge. Okay. Now the profit, just so you understand, the profit is the difference between the selling price and the cost. Okay. So in other words, if it costs me $99.50 to make it and I'm selling it for $194.03, I'm making $194 minus $99.50. Okay. So my profit would be $194.50, sorry, 03 minus $99.50. So I'd be making $94.53. Okay, in profit. So that's the idea. So this one says cost of a comic book is $3.95, markup's 20%. What I would encourage you to do is, as you're watching the video, pause it, try the question, and then play, and you can see the answer. Okay, so pause the question, or pause the video, do the question first. But the selling price is going to be the cost, which is $3.95 multiplied by 1 plus the markup percentage expressed as a decimal. So I'm going to get 395 times 1.2. And if I take 395 times it by 1.2, I get $4.74. So that's what I'm going to sell it for. Okay, same thing down here. Oil change is $18. I'm marking it up by 70%. So the sale price is going to be $18 times 1 plus 0.70, or 18 times 1.7. Okay, so I take 18, multiply it by 1.7, I get $30.60. All right, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to skip this step going forward. So in other words, I'm just going to add 1.3 instead of adding 1 plus 0.3 and then add it together afterwards. So my sale price for this guy is the cost, which is $14.50 times 1.3. Do that on my calculator, and I get $18.85. MP3 player, I start with the sale price is going to be the cost again. So I start with $129.50, and I'm going to multiply it by 1.6. So I get $207.20. And then this one, sale price is another oil change. We're going to take $21.95, and we're going to mark it up by 65%, 1 times 1.65. And it's going to cost me $36.22. Okay, so if you want your oil change, go to this guy. All right, don't go here. Too much money. But those are how you find markup. Now, the other thing about markup is there's actually also markup in terms of tax. Okay, tax is also a markup. You probably know that you have to pay sales tax on anything you buy. In New Brunswick, it's 15%. In other places, and across the different provinces, it's a little bit different. But that's also a markup. So it's actually found the same way. So tax is just your sale price, whatever your sale price is, and then multiplied by 1 plus the tax percent and expressed as a decimal. All right, where that's the tax percentage. So you usually you're going to mark up the product and then you're going to add tax to it after that. Okay, so here's what the question says. You've decided to start a business making hockey sticks, and once you take into account all your materials, you have to sell them for basically it costs you $32. So if you sell it for $32, you make no profit, but you don't go backwards. In other words, you don't lose money, but you don't gain any money. So you want to mark it up by 40%. It says, what's the price going to be? So for part A, the sale price is going to be the cost, which is $32, and then multiplied by the percentage that we're going to mark it up, which is 1.4. Okay? So that's $44.80. So that's how much we're going to sell it for. Okay? Now for part B, it says, what would the profit be if you sold 100 sticks? So the first thing you have to do is figure out what the profit for one stick. We take the sale price and we subtract the cost. So we take $44.80, which is what we're selling it for, and we subtract the $32, sorry, that it cost me, and I end up making $12.80 per stick. That's my profit per stick. So for 100 sticks, my profit is going to be 100 times that $12.80. So we're going to make $1,280 if we sell 100 sticks. Okay, and then the question says, what would they pay for one stick after tax? So now for part C, we take the sales price and we add the tax. So the total cost is the sale price, which is $44.80, multiplied by the tax percentage. And we're going to assume that you're making these in New Brunswick, so the tax is 15%. We're going to multiply it by 1.15. Okay. And that gives me $51.52. So that's what it's going to cost when I go to checkout at the cash register. All right. So here's another question. This question says that you own a convenience store in a small town, and you buy the stock for your store in the nearest city, and then you mark the prices up by 25%. So it says in the city you buy milk for $2.50, bread for $2.50, milk for $3.29, and a block of cheese for $6.25. So let's look at what then it would cost if you're going to mark them up. So we'll start with the milk. The milk is going to get marked up by 25%, so it's $3.29 times 1.25. So we're going to sell that for $4.11. Okay. The bread, we're going to mark that up as well. So it's $2.50 right now. We're going to multiply it by 1.25, marking it up by 25%. So that gives me, I'm rounding to 2 decimal places because it's money. So I'm going to round to 3.13. And then the cheese is $6.25, and we're going to again mark it up by $1.25, or mark it up by 25%. So we're going to mark $6.25 times 1.25. It gives me $7.81. Now this question says, if you sell 2 loaves of bread, 1 pint of milk, and 1 block of cheese, what's the total price? So the total price is going to be 2 times the loaves of bread, which are $3.13. Milk is $4.11, and then a block of cheese, which is $7.81. So 2 times 3.13 plus 4.11 plus 7.81 comes out to $18.18. So that's the total cost to the customer. Right now, you might want to add tax depending on the situation. Groceries generally don't have tax. They're not taxable. So because of that, we can leave the price as is. Some grocery items are, but a lot aren't. All right, we'll leave it like that. So we're going to look at a couple more of these. And again, I would encourage you to pause the video, try the question, and then see if you got it right. But here's what it says. A furniture store in Charlottetown is selling a bedroom suite. The list price is $15.99. What would the total cost be if we include 14% HST? So the cost is going to be, the total is going to be the original price, the sales price, or the price that we're selling the thing for, multiplied by our tax, which is 1.14. So it comes out to $1,822.86. Okay. Next question. Again, pause the video, read it, try it, and then we'll start. So the question says we're going to mark up 20% of $46. So we're going to take $46, mark it up by 1.20, and that's going to give me my sale price. So my sale price is going to be $55.20. Okay, the next question says Evan sells skateboards in his store, and the skateboard is $1,435. He marks up the prices by 40%. Okay, but he got a shipment of 15. So the first part of this is, what's the unit cost of one skateboard? We're going to take $1,435 and divide it by 15, right? Cost over quantity. So 14. 35 divided by 15 is 95.67. All right, so that's the cost per skateboard. And this is how much will he charge if he's going to mark it up. So now we're going to take the sale price is going to be the cost, which is $95.67, multiplied by 1.4 because he's marking it up by 40%. So he's going to sell them for $133.93. That's his sale price. That's what he's selling them for. And then the third part says, now what is the person, if somebody's going to buy it, what are they going to pay after tax? So the total cost is going to be the sales price is $133.93 multiplied by tax in New Brunswick, which is 15% right now. So it's going to multiply by 1.15, and that gives me $154.02. So that's what you're going to pay if you go in. That 15% is a markup from the government. It's not something that the person who's selling the stuff gets necessarily, but that's the idea. Okay. Now there's a few other exercises here in these notes, and I would encourage you to try to do them and then maybe post the answers after. But I think we've done enough examples in the video so that you understand what markup is. So I'm going to leave it at that. There's 3 more pages. There's this table that you can try. Okay. And then there are 2 sets of questions from your textbook that you can try to go through.